All right, we're going to talk about nets and surface area today and three-dimensional shapes. So remember, three-dimensional shapes are like cubes and cylinders and stuff like that. So a net is a three-dimensional shape that's taken apart. So if you see this one, this is a pyramid with a square on the bottom, and if you were to pull up all the parts, it would point into that. So that's what a net is called. So first we're going to just write the names in on page 35. So go ahead and open your binder up to 35 and write these names in. I will give you a couple minutes, a couple seconds or something to do that. But if you need to, go ahead and pause the video. All right, so then this is the rest of the page. And on the bottom, it just says there's some other shapes you may run into in IXL. Just use your knowledge of two-dimensional shapes to figure them out. So like there might be one with an octagonal base, so that would be an octagonal prism. Anything that's a pyramid is something that has 3 points on the top. Anything that has kind of just a little, like as you can see, the prisms have rectangles as one side of them. So just when you get to the IXL topics, you should be able to figure those out based on knowing your other shapes that we worked on earlier this quarter. Okay, the surface area is just the combined areas of all the shapes. We're just working on cubes and rectangular prisms. If you wish, you can write the rest of your shapes in your binder on page 40, but you just need to write down cube and rectangular prism so you may know those. Now, if you look at the first one, the surface area of the cube, if you think about it, a cube has 6 squares. And remember, square area was side times side. So we're just going to multiply 6 times side by side. You might see that as side square. That's the same thing, right? Side times side is the same as side square. Rectangular prism, you have to do all the different rectangles. And there's the 2 rectangles on the side, and there's 2 rectangles on the ends. There's 2 rectangles on the sides, and then there's the rectangles on the top and bottom. So you have 2 times length times width, plus 2 times width times height, times 2 times height times length. It sounds complicated, but just think about it. You're just doing 2 of the 2 tops, the 2 sides, and the 2 ends. If you haven't gotten it written down, go ahead and pause it before you go on. So the first topic in IXL that you have is this identifying the net. So we look at the first one, and the first one is a cylinder, and the net for a cylinder is marked with an X. You can see it has 2 circles and a rectangle that go together. If you rolled up that rectangle around the circles, that would make the cone. Now looking at the cylinder, sorry. Next, look at the cone. I jumped ahead. Look at the cone. Which one do you think it is? Hope you are correct. It's the one with a kind of a funny looking partial circle with a big circle on it. The cone doesn't have any straight sides. What about this? This has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's an octagonal prism. Which one do you think that is? Hopefully you got that correct. It's funny how the X's jump in before the other part when I change slides. Isn't that funny? Okay, let's look at the next one. Which one do you think that one is? Let's see if you're right. Yep, that one had a square base to it. And the very last one, I call that a tent, but it's actually a triangular prism. There you go. All right, now we're going to try to find the surface area, which is our second IXL topic. So we have our surface area. We're going to write that whole formula out. And then if you look at the length is 13, the width is 9, and the height is 3. So we're going to fill in those portions. So we have 2 times 9 times 13, and 2 times 13 times 3, and 2 times 3 times 9. One of the things I check to make sure I haven't messed it up, I make sure there's 2 of each one. So there's 2 13s, there's 2 3s, and there are 2 9s, but there's not 2 of the same thing anywhere. That's one of my tricks that I do to make sure I haven't messed it up. And then I'm going to go ahead and multiply those, and then multiply again, and then I have to add up to get the total. Remember, we're talking about, oh, I made a mistake. This is surface area so that it's inches squared. Next week, we're going to talk about volume. And for a second, I just was like, oh, gosh. But yeah, it's inches squared. Don't forget to put that. Okay, we're going to try 1 cube. Okay, remember the cube is the same as 6 times side square or side times side. So we're just going to do 6 times 13 squared, or 13 times 13. So that would be 6 times 169, and our final answer is 1,114 feet squared. Now it's time for you to do some practice. So let's get to it and go on to the next part.